last one really quick to hear. We're out of the way. Steve Bannon blames Asians for taking Silicon Valley jobs from blacks and Latinos. This is a story that came out back in June 2018, just to mind you, but it's relevant today. Conservative provocateur Steve Bannon recently took jabs at immigrants who came to America on H-1B visas, the majority of whom are Asian descent. In an interview with Fareed Zakaria, which aired back in 2018, the former White House chief strategist, known for his hardline stance on immigration, said that if you're from Asia and you're here, second generation, you're an American citizen, that's absolutely no problem. But he said he felt differently about those who were in the U.S. via the visa, which allows employers to hire foreign workers in specialty occupations. These H-1B visas, where you came from here, it's basically to take the jobs of Americans citizens, is just not acceptable, and that's not racist. Bannon said. The central beating heart of this is that Hispanic and blacks have to get into the high value tech jobs. We're never going to do that as long as they have an unfair competition. And so we have a clip on this I would like us to play.
Yeah, here I'm going to play the clip really quick.
But this clip actually.
Why should an American citizen, his family's been here 5 or 6 generations, that can go to college, get a degree, and is smart enough, why should they have to compete against the world on the territory inside the United States? It's not fair. Until Silicon Valley, until these places have, 20% African American and 20% Hispanic, I'd like to put an exit visa on every college graduate, foreign student that graduated from college here, in 30 days to leave and go back home and help make their nation great again. And we shouldn't take any foreign students in community colleges. That should be for American citizens, particularly for African Americans and Hispanics. They're never going to get up the economic chain unless we do this. You're not going to get folks into high value added post-industrial jobs based around artificial intelligence or coding or anything like that until we make the engineering schools and computer science schools available to them. And right now we don't. This is the reason. It's not about intelligence. It's about access to opportunity. This is why Silicon Valley has virtually no African Americans and no Hispanics. It's de minimis. They have to compete against the whole world for those jobs. And this is one of the reasons you're seeing the seething anger is that people aren't getting good jobs. And one of the reasons they're not getting good jobs, they have to compete against the whole world here in the United States. It's simply not fair.
If you really listen to what he said, it kind of almost paints Steve Bannon in a much different light than kind of I've known him as, and some of the sound bites I've seen him. And I don't watch a lot of Steve Bannon conversations.
I only know what they tell me on the news basically about Steve Bannon. I mean, I've seen other stuff about him, but I've never really seen him speak. And a couple of clips you had us watch, I'm just like, and what he's saying too, I understand, for them, they're like, they understand white people want to be superior in America. That's what it is. But he also understands that everybody needs to come up too to make it level. So I mess with that.
Yeah. I mean, and at the same time,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah, when he got out of jail, he was like, I spoke to me. I'm not gonna lie. I've had a preconceived notion of who I felt like Steve Bannon was because of things that I've heard him say. But those are clips. I've never watched a lot of his stuff because I don't like watching racist shit.
Yeah.
But when you listen to him, he's like, when he first came out, he's like, I had an opportunity to speak with some of the, people in some of the lowest of the low positions being incarcerated. And I've been able to talk to them, and I see what they how they feel and what they like. And if he's saying this stuff already back in 2018 before he was locked up, which is very much true, we do need to do these things. That's a fact. He said 20% and 20%, that's 40. That's like a 40%. He's, it's making sense because this is kind of where we are as far as population base is concerned. I mean, which is making a lot of sense. This kind of stuff. This is why he's so angry when he hears people like Elon Musk come out and say the things that he said. I don't know. You remember when he came out and he spoke and he said the stuff that he said last time about Elon Musk. I think we played the clip before for that too. So go back and watch that clip as well if you guys have an opportunity. It's another one we did. But he's really being consistent. He's been consistent about this from the beginning. Trump was consistent until he wasn't. And does this go back then to?
Well, it's all about profit. I mean, like when it comes to like they say, what it is. It's like you bring these people in on these visas. You can pay them less than you have to pay an American person. And then if the person tries to leave the job, they got to leave the country. You know what I'm saying? So they're basically forced into these jobs, and it's taking jobs away from Americans. This is what everyone's been talking about.
Bannon said, you're not even an American. You're a globalist. You're not a nationalist, he said. You're not even an American. You're a globalist. He told Elon Musk this. And this guy's been consistent on this viewpoint since 2018. So you gotta respect what he's saying right here. I think I'm gonna do a little bit more research and listen to a little bit more of what Steve Bannon has to say, so I can kind of paint not a better picture, but a better view of who he is, instead of just listening to
sound bites
on Steve Bannon.
Well, I listened to a long form of his stuff. I was like, he makes sense, but also, it's
some of it, I get what you're saying. I'm gonna go back in.
At the end of the day, I know what they're saying, right? It's like, in America, we're Americans, right? There's natives, there's blacks, there's white, there's Mexicans. You know what I'm saying? That's the main, Chinese. You know what I'm saying? But then now you have but a lot of us are American at the end of the day. We ain't got nowhere else to go. Like, if we, as African Americans, we may not have nowhere to go, but they really ain't got nowhere to go.
Go to Europe. They're Europeans. They're not white. There's no such thing as white. To me, there's no such thing as white. I don't even believe in white. I don't.
No, it's a made up concept, but a lot of people,
country white. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, hey, that country's white. They'll call a person who's from China.
No, you're not catching what I'm saying.
Chinese.
You're not catching what I'm saying, though. It's like, no, like we can go back to Africa if we wanted to, but we ain't got nowhere to go in Africa because we don't know where we come from in Africa.
Exactly.
Like I'm saying, people that are Americans, like Mexican citizens or whatever, if you don't know, you ain't got nowhere to go. Think about it. Like, some people that are DACA, they'd be like, look, I've been here since I was a baby. Look, they'd be like, I don't know where to go. I mean,
not knowing where to go. I know, I get what you're saying. Yeah. Being from somewhere, we're all Americans. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But not knowing, they know what country they're from. They know what country they're from. They kind of probably even can figure out what region they came from originally. Most of them can. There's not too many DACA kids. They know where they know. Okay, even Europeans. They know. They'd be like, well, my parent was a German, this, and this. It doesn't matter what city you're from in Germany. You're a German. You can go to Germany. You can go to.
If you have no ties there, though.
You know what I'm saying, though, is if we knew, I mean, that's why blacks can say that we're black.
Well, you can kind of low-key say you came from Ghana, or you can say you came from Egypt.
You don't know
Depending on how you feel about yourself.
You don't know that. You can't just say you came there. You don't. That's not a factual thing. You're just making it up.
DNA test about it. I know that. I watched the one Jewish dude. He DNA'd the black guy, and he was like, "Oh shit, no, they're Hebrews."
I mean, but what I'm saying is, okay, but you might have trails of things that you're from these different places, but you don't know. You have no clue. That's been taken from you. Your race, culture, religion, everything's been, not race, but your culture, religion, everything's been taken from you. You don't know. We have no clue. We were separated. All that was taken from us. These people can say, oh, my grandma was this, my dad was this person was. So you know for a fact what you are. You can go, like, we can go to cities, they have like nothing but.
But I'm saying some people don't have that no more. And that's my point.
Not very many.
No, there's a lot. People. There's a lot.
I don't believe
there's a lot.
I think we'd have to look at that, but I don't believe that most people most of the Europeans in this country, I don't call people white anymore, because if I went to France and I asked him what is he's going to say, a Frenchman. So if you have French and you're a Frenchman, you're not white. There's no country called white.
You don't land at the French airport, right? And just stay in French. Do you go to Paris? Where are your people from? You know what I'm saying? They don't have, like I'm saying.
But you know the country where you're from.
Yeah, we know the country too. Africa. We just don't know.
Africa is not a country. It's a continent. It's totally different. That's a separate thing. Africa is a continent which is comprised of countries. That's separate. If I knew I was from Ghana, I'm from Ghana. If I knew I was from Mozambique, I'm from Mozambique.
They don't tell you exactly what city you're from. Sometimes they'd be like, look, you could be English, Spanish, French.
It doesn't matter, but you know what you are.
Yeah, your nationality.
Know what you are. Yeah, but we don't.
But they don't know which nationality in there. Because it's not everybody's the same. You know what I'm saying? People come from different areas. People have different.
All I'm saying, but they have a way of probably a lot of them have probably ways of tracking where they came from, what part of it they were from originally.
Yeah, I mean, after you track, I'm saying, like, right now.
We know what else. You know what else gave them that?
Like right now,
their names also a lot of times gave them an understanding of where they're from, what part of where they're from.
I'm telling you, like right now, there's a lot of people. If they don't look it up, they don't know none of that shit, and they don't care to look it up. They live in America.
You don't need to care to look it up. I'm just saying, factually, they do. We don't.
My point I was trying to make before we went off on it, I was saying, like, a lot of people. That's why a lot of people don't want the immigrants to come in, because at least us Americans, we may not like what's going on, but we're stuck here. But we can't have people coming in, taking our jobs, paying less, and changing the babies.
But to be honest, man, if we really were to look at this, it's bigger than all of this. What we're saying right there is really about population. We are not creating. The population in our country is truly declining. I mean, the population globally is growing, but the reason why population is growing is because of certain places, Asia and Africa are really the continents that's keeping this machine moving. And a lot of people are moving out of those countries, going to other places and helping other countries to remain, basically, we want to say, solvent when it comes to people. So that's what that is.
Tariq Nasheed would say that also. He was like, look, he calls the people, he's going to call some name. I'm not going to tell him what the name is. But he's like, yo, you come over here and like you talk bad about, it's like the other Africans that come over here and they talk bad about us, African Americans. And he's like, well, if you're where you're from is so great and better than us, why don't you get back? Why aren't you fixing that one?
And a lot of times you guys are getting, the reason you're even over here and able to partake in what's here is because of us. Respect it. Period. There's nothing to talk about. That's the conversation. You wouldn't even be able to come here and not be a slave or something else if it was not for us. Period. We put the groundwork in. The biggest thing is they're just like any other immigrant who's coming here who can still go back and buy land and property in the country where they originated from. So it gives you an upper hand. You should be doing a lot better than what you are. You should be doing what the Indian Americans are doing. They're doing excellent over here. I think they're the number one, like when it comes to household income, they're number one, period. So that's where you should be. I wouldn't even have that conversation with a person who is from the continent that I believe that most of us originally came from. So, enough about that.
Yeah, but also, what I'm saying, don't forget to catch us every Sunday, 1 p.m. Pacific time, our town hall, 7 p.m. Friday, the Friday Fix, Pacific time, both times. This is Uncommon Courtesy.